Hey guys, and welcome to Wrestling Days. So, just finished watching Raw this week, and I thought it was all right. There really wasn't that much that kind of stuck out. It was very much a go-home show. They obviously showed off all the matches that were going to be on Payback. I think Payback looks brilliant, but I think the show tonight just really suffered a little bit because nothing developed. But then I suppose nothing needed to develop. Everything's in place for Payback. And so it was literally just here's the matches, here's the final build for it. Obviously started off with promo from Shane and Steph. Didn't really like it. Felt a bit like they were just squabbling in the ring. I think the whole security thing, the security guards, it was just pointless. It was needless. Didn't need it. I'd like that to have been a bit more vicious. Just seemed, as I said, to be like a brother and sister having a spat, which I suppose it was, but I don't know, just seemed weird to go and get security guards, one of which looked about 12, the one that Steph actually hit. So wasn't feeling that. I suppose the big announcement from that is that Vince is going to decide who's going to run Raw going forward at Payback. Will it be Shane or will it be Steph? I'm wondering if it's going to be a third option. I'm wondering if it might be someone like Eric Bischoff. Stupid as that sounds, I'm not saying it's going to be him. But who's to say it's not Corporate Kane? Who's to say it's not Linda McMahon? Who's to say it's not Vince himself? Who's to say it's not Michael Cole? Honestly, I don't know, but feels like they're setting this up for a swerve. We kind of know that Shane's not going to be around for much longer. Well, certainly that's what's been reported. And maybe, who knows, maybe Steph just wants a bit of a break. So, I don't know. I'm quite interested to see what happens with that, because I don't think it's going to be as clean cut as going, oh, it's Shane or oh, it's Steph. We'll have to see. It's worth mentioning as well that the start of the show had a still for China. I honestly thought this was going to be all we were going to get, but later on there is a video package, which is way more than what I was expecting. I honestly feared they wouldn't do anything at all. So for them to do those two things, I think WWE got this absolutely right. And what was really good as well was the video package was on the Twitter WWE site as well, so you could share it. And I think all of this just bodes so well for China going into the Hall of Fame, because clearly WWE aren't embarrassed about showing their connections with China and celebrating China's life. What's stopping kids Googling China now, going onto Google and seeing that she's been in adult films? That was always the reason given for her not going in the Hall of Fame. Kind of, they can't use that reason now, because now they're very publicly connecting themselves to China. So I think it looks very good for her going into a Hall of Fame. It's just a travesty that it took this to happen in order for her to go in. Anyway, let's get to some slightly more cheerful stuff. Sheamus, in all fairness, looked all right in this, and it's great that he's got his own entrance music back, because it's a hell of a lot better than the League of Nations entrance music. I read online as well that Del Rio has said that they're going their own separate ways, so it was no great surprise that all three of them had singles matches this week. Apparently the original plan was that they were going to feud with the Wyatts, and because Bray Wyatt got injured, that was scrapped. There's now nothing for League of Nations, so that's it. They're done. I thought it was quite interesting as well, in the UK on a couple of the ad breaks they were advertising Payback with images of the Wyatt family. I'm not saying that there's going to be any Wyatt family involvement. If anything, I think these images were probably created with the Wyatts versus the League of Nations in mind. I think that definitely would have been a match at Payback. So kind of feels like we dodged a bullet on that one a little bit, because I can't say I'd be too excited to see that myself. But anyway, first match, Sheamus was up against AJ Styles. This was all right. I mean, I want to say it was good, because it certainly had some good moments, but not enough to make the match good. Certainly not great. There was a couple of spots. I mean, I remember the the Pele kick or Pele kick that AJ Styles did, which looked all right. There was, there's a few power moves from Sheamus, who looked quite strong in this. Other than that, it was largely forgettable. Next up, we had New Day come out, and then Enzo and Big Cass and Vaudevillains. This is obviously to hype up the final of the tag tournament. I don't know why they're getting Vaudevillains to talk. They didn't do that much talking in NXT, so why now are they asking them to do a load of promo on the main roster? English is okay, but he's not the best, person on the mic. Enzo, to tell the truth, didn't even catch what he said. So I couldn't tell you if it was any good or not. It was very short, I know that. The whole thing just seemed a bit off. First time that we've had Enzo and the New Day in the ring at the same time. Could have had some real, back and forth. I think all of that's being saved for when we do finally get Enzo and Big Cass against New Day. But this kind of suffered as a result. There was nothing that I can remember from this that I can really talk about. It was very, very forgettable. Next we had Gallows and Anderson against the Usos. Again, this was largely forgettable. There was a couple of spots in it. I was not that impressed with the entrance music for Gallows and Anderson. It seemed a little quiet and, I don't know, just didn't grab me. It certainly wasn't like Nakamura or like Styles where you go, this is immense. So no, I was a bit let down by that. I thought their ring attire was a little bizarre as well. Gallows had like really proper professional looking wrestling gear when they're kind of like brawlers, so you would have thought they would have had like brawling gear. Seeing them wearing jeans would make sense, but no, it was like proper wrestling boots and that kind of stuff. It just felt a little jarring to me. But it is what it is. As I said, it was an okay match. There's a few hard hitting moments. I remember Gallows pushing one of the Usos off the top turnbuckle. He went flying. I think it was Jay. He went flying to the outside. And that was it. Honestly, I don't recall a great deal from these opening matches. They were. Roman came down anyway. He looked really good when he came down. He like flew down the ramp and smacked, I think it was Gallows, in the head. Gave like a beat down. I'm kind of into this. I didn't like the end of this Raw, and we'll get to that. But I thought this part of it was all right. Good beat down that Reigns delivered on Gallows and Anderson, and it didn't make them look too weak or anything. They've been thrown in up against the champion, so they're certainly being pushed. Next we had a promo for Owens and Zayn. I thought this was excellent. I really did. I thought that the only bit I didn't like was they said we're going to look at the 14-year history. Let's go back to the Royal Rumble. The Royal Rumble that was a few months ago. And then before that we saw footage from last year of NXT, and that was it. There was, 14-year history? I think there was one photo from 14 years ago, and that was it. So a bit of a misstep there for me. But yeah, it was really good, and really built up the importance of this match. So very, very much looking forward to that. Rousseff against Zayn. Thank God this match was brilliant. Really, really enjoyed it. Some really great spots on this. Rousseff did, some brilliant work. I seem to remember him hurling Zayn against the ring. He then hurled Zayn over towards the barricade, but Zayn landed on it and then did a moonsault backwards, which was immense. Some really good in-ring work. It was nice to have Rousseff again have his own entrance music. Looked really good. Lana by his side. It was good, fast-paced match. Everything was good apart from the end. It was a cheap roll-up victory for Zayn, which is a bit weird that the face gets a cheap victory, but he did. It's worth mentioning at the end that Zayn gets jumped by Owens. You could see it coming a mile off, but still a cool moment. Cruz up against Stardust. Really enjoyed the little backstage bit they did where Cruz was saying, it's a pleasure for me to face you because your dad did everything for me. It was your dad that came up with the name Apollo. And like Stardust was like, well, with a name like Apollo, I understand why you're aiming for the stars or surrounding yourself with the stars, whatever it was. I also loved as well Stardust, like he was lying in the ring and he just like proper rolled his eyes when Apollo's entrance music came on. I need a gif for that. I really do need a gif for that. So it was a cool little moment, and there's, Apollo looked great in this match. Probably the best outing we've had from Apollo, bouncing all over the ring, doing bloody backflips and everything. He did a couple of backflips straight into a drop kick, which was really, really smart. So short match, Cruz wins, but it was fairly enjoyable. Next we had Ambrose and Jericho. This was a good little promo. I think Jericho's doing some really good work at the moment. And he's kind of really healing it up. Loved a couple of Ambrose's lines. He was like, Jericho, get down here in your Christmas tree jacket. And Jericho slaps the walls of Jericho. I mean, obviously there's a beat down, and then Jericho slaps the walls of Jericho onto Ambrose on the announce table. It looked good. And again, it built intrigue for this. Ambrose has to win this feud. He really does. He has to win this feud. Or this match at this stage. We'll have to see if it develops into a longer feud. Natalya against Emma. I was really disappointed in this because I love both of them, and the crowd were chanting "We want Sasha." That they got no time. This was the only Divas match. Charlotte came out and was on commentary. It was really, really short. We just didn't get a chance to see much of either of them, so disappointing, really disappointing actually, considering this is meant to be the brand new women's division and we get one very short match. Talking of disappointing, we got Sandow against Corbin. Corbin comes out, gets jumped by Ziggler, and that was it for Sandow. That was it for the match. It's all just building up the Corbin-Ziggler story. Again, nothing of note. Literally, I've told you everything that happened. Miz and Cesaro was a little bit cringe, gotta be honest. Didn't really enjoy it. I like the Miz, he's a good talker. I like Maurice, I think she's an excellent manager. Cesaro, I think this is a bit of a misstep for me. He's getting more airtime and he's getting more time to talk and connect with the fans, but that's not his strength. That's not where he excels. He excels in the ring. So I understand they're trying to get another dynamic to him, and that's to be commended. But it's not connecting with me. It's not terrible. I loved the Roddy Piper one from the other week where he quoted Roddy Piper. And this week we didn't really get anything like that. I think he said that Miz reminded him of a film, and that film was Jackass. I smiled at that, but it's not really enough to carry a segment. Get Roman and AJ backstage. Really wanted this to turn into a brawl. It didn't. They just keep having words with each other. Obviously going into it, the whole dynamic of is AJ with Gallows and Anderson, are they plotting something big for payback? Obviously it was teased as well that Balor was going to be there tonight. He wasn't. It was, I don't know, it was all flat. The main event was flat as well. Didn't really enjoy it. Roman against Del Rio. Few moments, Roman's typical moveset. But yeah, it was what it was. The beatdown at the end was okay. It was just okay. The whole thing was just okay. I suppose really there was a few highlights, like the China tribute video I thought was really good, and I wasn't expecting a video. I thought that the Rousseff Zayn match was very good. I enjoyed that. I thought that the Owens and Zayn promo was very good as well. I like the development that Shane and Steph, we'll find out who's going to run Raw at Payback from Vince, because I think there could be a swerve there. So it was an okay show, but a show that had a few talking points to it, so not a disaster by any means. Cool. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget you can follow me on Twitter at Wrestling Days UK. If you haven't subscribed, it'd be brilliant if you did, because I've got loads more videos to come. And hopefully I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.